everyone. Happy New Year. I hope that you all enjoyed some much needed time off and that the transition back into working life has not been too shocking for your system. Personally, I'm struggling with getting up at a normal time. But anyway, as promised, I put together a highlight reel of all 12 episodes from 2024. And let me tell you, that was not easy. I talked to so many interesting, smart, passionate people this past year who had a lot of wisdom to share, and it was a real challenge to narrow it down, but I managed to get it down to about 1 minute per episode. So give it a listen. So 12 minutes long, and maybe it'll inspire you to go back and listen to an episode that you may have missed or re-listen to one that you really liked. Also, stay tuned for the next season, which is starting in 2 weeks. I've already recorded a few of the episodes, one of which was interrupted by an earthquake, which was a first for me, and you can experience it with me on video. Um, Lastly, let me know if there's any specific community engagement topic that you'd like me to cover this year. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do it, but I'm open to suggestions. So send me an email at kelly@engagingcities.org, KELLY @engagingcities.org, or just send me a note to say hi, or send me fan mail. I'm okay with that too. Um, anyway, enjoy the highlight reel and shout out to our sponsor, Conveo, because without them, this podcast would not exist. So thank you, Conveo. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Bye.
Hey, my name is James Rojas, and I'm a city planner and artist. And I use art making and storytelling as a way to get people engaged in planning. How can we, as planners, engage people the same way artists do, through their senses, through creativity and joy? You know,
Yeah.
how your body relates to space is really critical to how you understand the city or a place.
When people work with their hands, their best selves come out. When people work together in teams to build an ideal space or place, they're working with their hands. They're not hashing it out through language. When you build an ideal space or place, you literally make room for other people's ideas. You physically are making room for other people's ideas. It's serious play, right? So we're taking the seriousness level down a little bit,
Yeah.
but the outcomes are meaningful and real and can really change people's lives for the better.
Because my philosophy in speaking to the police department about homelessness was, well, it isn't your problem. It's our problem. It's everybody's problem. Doing nothing and being too permissive with respect to homelessness is actually inhumane, because what you're doing is you're saying to folks, well, we can't really help you, or perhaps you're not ready to be helped. So the only alternative is for you to live outside and possibly die on the streets. And that's wrong. What we learned through the process is that not everyone's in the same spot. Not everyone's in the same place, and not everyone's ready to accept services. And sometimes all you can do is chip away at something, right? And you don't lose hope, and you continue to persevere, because at the end of the day, that's what the residents expect you to do.
YEP is a nonprofit organization that focuses on teaching kids K through 12 about urban planning and civic engagement, and how they can create meaningful participation and be able to have their own opinions and their own comments about what they would like to see in their communities. Youth are 22% of the population, and they're often not included. I don't think we would not ask, 22% of another population not to participate. It's so enlightening and eye-opening for all of the planners that they actually wouldn't change a thing once they've incorporated youth into what they do. They will always do it that way from now on.
Even if they don't decide to become city planners, whatever they go on to do, at least they feel like, oh, hey, I had that experience where I was able to affect change, real change. I saw the physical results of me getting involved.
Their perspective's so unique, and it's so valued and deserves to be a part of that.
At the core of at least business retention expansion is developing relationships with local businesses, which is the owners that live in the community, work in the community. The goal is to help the local economy to thrive and grow, and have that be led by local businesses that are existing already in the community. Being patient and playing the long game is important when you're talking about engagement, and maybe to the earlier conversation, thinking about community engagement as less transactional will help us get to that place too, playing a long game.
Mhm. It's not, I need something from you. It's, hey, let's get to know each other. Let's see what issues in general are you having, and how can we help you? If you
That's
have
good.
to ask who those people are, you're already behind.
Planning really is the great equalizer when it comes to communities. You don't want to be working on something and only have the community come back and say, well, whose bright idea was that? And I think having that continuous feedback, one, helps guide us, but two, really builds the trust in the community that, hey, they're actually listening to us and recognizes that we don't have an agenda of any kind. It really is just to enhance and beautify. So establishing trust is really a big thing. And then, once you establish trust, it's never going to be what you think it's going to be, right? Because you're beholden to all these other stakeholders. City's not even the main stakeholder. The community members and the people who visit the pier are the main stakeholders.
This journey started in 2019 when I noticed an overall lack in civic education around the power and importance of local boards and commissions. At the time, we had a lot of development projects happening in the city of San Jose, and I was participating in the planning commission and really with no instructions, and never really heard about the planning commission until probably like 2016. This is a great avenue for democratic participation that not a lot of people know about. We have over a 95% satisfaction rate. On top of that, just the reach of this course is very impressive. Since we've launched it in the spring, we've reached over 200 people. For the people who filled out our completion survey, around 90% of them now feel able to make a meaningful impact in their community. The way to make change isn't just to be in an official seat. It's just by using your 2 minutes and reading the docs and giving quality feedback that you care about how this park is being developed. It's all with the goal of building a culture of civic participation. The more people who participate in the process, the better and more healthy a democracy we have.
The principles are involve everyone, focus on what matters most to residents, and then playing the long game. So that's sort of the philosophical underpinnings of the program. One important point about our program is that we are nonpartisan. There's no political, social, or religious agenda. We are simply a framework that helps communities identify their priorities and then turn them into actions. And one of the great things about the outcome of the program is it gives town officials a really clear vision of what matters most to the residents. After doing Community Heart and Soul, the community said, we want this thing to go. And I would say it mustered enough public will to get the town to agree to buy the property and tear down the incinerator. We're very passionate about our work. We love this program and we just want to see it spread. The most important thing is the way that we engage as many residents as possible. Instead of inviting people to the table, we bring the table to the people.
My research as a communication professor has always focused on how do we have the tough conversations we need to have for democracy to work? The unfortunate reality is we're much more wired for polarization and outrage. We incentivize never really listening to the people you disagree with, right? Because they're not going to vote for you anyway. Most of our politics doesn't reward that. It rewards the opposite. It rewards the imaginary enemies. It rewards the kind of blind spots. Instead of me against you, right?
Yeah.
We're shoulder to shoulder working this problem together. And we're tapping into kind of human creativity to kind of help that. And it just changes the conversation. The best of human nature is we're really creative problem solvers. So focus it around the problem and then have lots of different options for solutions. You have to go slow to go fast. And if you have a really good process to make a tough decision and there's trust in that decision, and there's buy-in and there's ownership of that decision, then the implementation is going to work a lot better.
It's always been my aim to give everyone affected by a decision the opportunity to affect that decision. No two communities, no two memorials are going to approach it the same way. You're striving to arrive at a decision as a group that everyone feels comfortable either actively supporting, or at least they're willing to mute any kind of opposition to it. You can't just go with the thing that'll get majority. You need to go with something that everybody feels will satisfy their underlying interests. I just don't think that our communities can take for granted that what's currently being memorialized is what the community wants memorialized. So I hope that people in the roles like mine will consider that, will not just think it's either a one-way communication like a survey or a boisterous public meeting, that they'll think about some of the in-between possibilities as well.
We need to think about how we renovate our existing institutions, because they are spaces that exist. They are the spaces that make decisions. There is an appetite for civil dialogue and an opportunity for their decisions to inform, or their input to inform decisions. There are challenges that need to be addressed. And the real basic ones really are around the need to be heard and the want and the feeling of being heard. Why wouldn't we want to know how to better create a process and use that to inform our meeting structure and efficiency and inclusivity? Making sure that the messaging is not trying to silence people, but actually with coming from the position that you're trying to enhance their opportunities to inform a process. We're trying to avoid this process being viewed as just simply a political tool by the people in power. Institutions, they do need to be renovated. They do, and the relationships with them and within them need to be rebuilt.
You have a right to yell at me and share your passionate beliefs and thoughts, but I might not necessarily respond the best as a human being. The area was built in the 60s and 70s. And as you can imagine, the framework for cities in the Western United States, when they were sprawling out from their core city, in our case, Denver, was to have a shopping mall or a shopping center. And that was the most exciting place. You can't have a vibrant mixed use entertainment, shopping, inviting district with just a grocery store and a movie theater when you're surrounded by tens of thousands of square feet of vacant space. You need very clear in what is the role of the resident. I am a big fan of knowing what is my role in the process, in the machine, in the cog, in my life. Only ask questions that you want answers to, that you plan on that you plan on activating with those answers.
If you can't actually use that feedback, or you don't intend to use that feedback, you can't actually implement what that feedback is, then don't ask.
It's not about us coming in to save your town. It's about you saving your town. We teach people practical steps to a brighter future. You begin with your big idea. What is it that you want for your community? What do you want? And don't hesitate to make it big. So you take that idea and then you start talking about it with your friends. And you call up your neighbor and say, hey, come on over Saturday afternoon. I'm going to bake some stuff. Come have a bite to eat with me. And I have this idea I want to talk to you about.
You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have any particular degree or education or training or expertise to get involved and make a huge difference in your community. You just have to have the passion.
Get your friends together and form a group of ninjas. You know what ninjas are? They just go do stuff. And they kind of do it stealth, right?
Yeah.
Like early in the morning or late at night when people can't see what they're doing. So easy to do. Just go be a ninja. Just kill the committees, kill the meetings. You don't need them. If you want something done, go do it. If you want to talk about it with somebody, go talk about it in your living room or, in the community park. Keep telling the good stories.
Thank you for listening. And like I said, the new season launches in 2 weeks. So I'll see you then. In the meantime, head on over to engagingcities.org and give us a follow on LinkedIn. Take care.